What's up again, everybody? I'm Clayton. Welcome back to Ages of Film. And today we got another director's filmography coming at you freaks. I've done a number of these already on my channel. You guys can go check those out. I have a playlist, director's filmography. I've done John Carpenter. I've done Wes Craven. I've done M. Night Shyamalan, Zack Snyder, a few others. You guys can go check those out if you like these videos. Today we're doing Tony Scott. So a while back in, I think November, December-ish, I did a collab with a couple YouTube buddies of mine, Bryan Lomax, Jack Petrie. You guys should know both of them at this point. I've had them both on the channel. Great guys. The three of us did a collaboration about a month ago doing Ridley Scott. So we ranked all of Ridley Scott's feature films, released our videos at the same time on the same day at least, and that's what we're doing again here. So the three of us are back together. We've got the band back together here, and we are doing the same thing. We're ranking all of Tony Scott's filmographies, releasing our videos on the same day. So when you're done here, go check out their channels. Bryan Lomax, Jack Petrie. I'll leave their links in the description there down below. You guys can go check out their channels. Give them a thumbs up. Give them a subscribe to their channels, and yeah, show them some love, man. They're good dudes. So yeah, and I know their list will look different than mine. I guarantee you their list will look different than mine. I have an idea of what Bryan will probably have for his number one, although he could surprise me. He's kind of a wild card. You never know with that guy. Jack, I have no idea. I have no idea what Jack is showing for his number one. So we've not seen each other's list. So this should be fun. We had a good time doing it last time. We did Ridley Scott. We figured why not go ahead and do the other Scott brother, Tony Scott. So yeah, RIP to Tony Scott, passed away a while back now. So yeah, this was a fun ranking. He had some good films, pretty good quality overall, I would say, for his movies. So 16 films that we're going to go in and rank. As always, we're going to start from the bottom. We're going to work our way up to number one. Just my opinion on these. I'm not going to go too in depth for this ranking. Just going to kind of touch on a couple things that I like or didn't like with these movies. So all that out of the way, let's get rocking. So coming in at the bottom, number 16. This one was pretty easy. I'm going with Domino from, I think it's 2005, around there, starring Keira Knightley and Mickey Rourke. Yeah, not a very good film. I didn't buy into these characters really. They kind of play this group of assassins. And I just don't buy Keira Knightley in that role. Just don't really buy it. I feel like the character writing wasn't very good, wasn't really thought out very well, just kind of a sloppy script. And the editing was really bad, I gotta say, and which is kind of surprising because Tony Scott usually has pretty smooth editing, and usually puts his films together, structures them pretty tightly, and usually has really good editing in his films. Both Scott brothers do a really good job at that. But this one, man, the editing was just choppy. It wasn't smooth. It was very just. It wasn't structured well. The synchronicity of it, just yeah. I don't know what happened here. I don't know. If there was just some studio issues trying to get involved or script issue. I don't know. But all I know was did not really enjoy this film. 1.5 stars for me for Domino. And yeah, kind of forgettable too. Pretty forgettable, I would say. Like because I don't really invest with the characters, I'm not paying attention that much to the story. I gotta say. So yeah, Domino, easy, bottom of the barrel, number 16 for me. Coming in at number 15, I have Revenge, starring Kevin Costner. Again, this movie has quality to it. Visually, it's well put together. It's well crafted. The editing is much better than in Domino. But I have a big issue with the story in this one and with the characters. I really don't find any of the characters here to be likable really at all. And that's a problem for me. So I kind of see what they were going for in this film, but I just don't think the execution was all there. And I don't really agree either with the narrative in this film. And yeah, it kind of goes back to the character issue and why characters are, for me, the most important thing in any film, because the characters are the ones telling the story. They're the ones telling the story in the film. So if I don't buy into the characters, it's going to be really hard to get me to buy into the story, because the characters are the ones telling the story. So yeah, and I found myself not really investing with these characters because of how they were written. The acting wasn't that bad, but it was more on the script and how the characters were written that I didn't really like any of them. I didn't really just not a very enjoyable film. And I approach my ratings from enjoyability, how much I enjoyed the film. So for me, this is a 2-star movie. I can appreciate some of the visual stuff in it, but overall, not a film I'd come back to. So Revenge, number 15. Coming in at number 14, we have The Hunger. This was Tony Scott's first feature film, his debut film, horror film, vampire film. You guys know I'm not the biggest vampire guy, definitely more of a werewolf guy. I wasn't really sure where he was going with this one at first, but once I kind of got settled into the story, kind of liked some of the characters here, it got better. And then once I saw what he was doing visually with the story, I actually ended up enjoying this one to a decent degree. So I would give this a 3-star rating. I do like it. It is a film I could come back to. Certainly not the best of Tony Scott, certainly not the best vampire film, but for a debut feature, it's pretty good. So yeah, The Hunger, number 14. Coming in at number 13, I have Spy Game, another 3-star film. You got Robert Redford, Brad Pitt. Both do a good job. I like this film, but it didn't really do much emotionally for me. It was entertaining. I think a part of that was the pacing. It kind of just went by at a pretty good pace to it. And the story was intriguing, but yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I did. I could watch this film again. I don't know that I would go out of my way to watch this movie again. It didn't really offer me anything where, I was just taken back or super impressed or whatever. It didn't linger with me. So it had some good stuff in it. But yeah, overall, good film. Enjoyed the ending and kind of how they closed the story there. But yeah, Spy Game, number 13. Coming in at number 12, I have The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. This is actually a remake from the 70s film. It's got Denzel Washington. It's got John Travolta. Another film that I like, but I feel like it's nothing special to me. I feel like this is a B movie version of Speed. I got Speed vibes from this. You have your protagonist character, Denzel, and he's trying to stop the antagonist character, John Travolta, who has a lot of similarities with the antagonist in Speed. Denzel kind of has some personality similarities with Keanu Reeves from Speed, although I think they're more different than Dennis Hopper and John Travolta are. But it felt like a B version of Speed, and I much prefer Speed. So yeah, it takes place on a train primarily. Have a group of hostages, a lot like Speed. If you've seen Speed, you kind of know what this film is about. So yeah, there wasn't really anything surprising to me with this movie. There wasn't really anything that took me by surprise. I kind of knew where this was heading. It's pretty predictable. So yeah, one of those movies that it's an enjoyable popcorn film. If I want to just watch some fun action for an hour and 40 minutes, I could throw this one on and have a good time. But there's plenty of other action type movies that I would go to first before coming back to this one. So nothing special, 3-star film, but I like it. And I would have it obviously above the films that I've already mentioned. So there you go. Moving on to number 11, we have Beverly Hills Cop 2. Interesting that Tony Scott kind of was tackling a sequel to a movie that he didn't actually direct. Like, he didn't direct the first Beverly Hills Cop, but he did the sequel, which is interesting. I personally prefer this one over the other two. Well, I guess there's actually 4 Beverly Hills Cop movies now. I haven't seen the newest one, but of that original trilogy, the second one is probably my favorite. I just feel like it has the most movement to the story. I think it's the most entertaining. I think the humor lands and works the best. I like the plot. I think the plot works the best here. The tension between our protagonist and our antagonist. Some really cool shots and camera work. So I enjoy this one, man. I would give this one 3.5 out of 5. Thoroughly enjoy it. And obviously, Eddie Murphy, always entertaining. So moving on to number 10, we have Man on Fire. Might be a hot take. This seems to be a film that a lot of people love. I enjoy it. It's number 10, 3.5 stars. I do enjoy it. So really good editing, good camera work here by Tony Scott. Definitely a movie that has some heart to it, has an emotional, beat to it for sure, especially in that third act and what happens. Denzel's always entertaining. I don't know that this movie has much rewatch value for me, because there's not really anything here that makes me want to come back to it very often. If it's on, I can sit down and watch it and enjoy it, but there's not like anything in it that just like grips me, and makes me want to revisit it often. I don't know that it's Denzel's strongest character that he's played from a writing standpoint. There's not like a lot of layers there, and he's not really working off anybody. So yeah, I just, I buy into the relationship with him and the girl, but, and that's what kind of generates some emotion in that third act. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really have that rewatch value for me personally. Still a very good film. I still thoroughly enjoy it and would recommend it if you haven't checked it out. So Man on Fire, number 10 for me. Coming in at number 9, I have Enemy of the State. We got Will Smith, Gene Hackman, whom I love. And honestly, I would like to have had more of Gene Hackman in this movie. To me, he's the best part of this film. I feel like Will Smith is one of those actors who he's always entertaining when he's on screen, but he's kind of always the same guy, kind of like, I don't know, I was going to say Tom Cruise, although Tom Cruise can act. Cruise has films where he's given phenomenal performances, but a lot of Cruise films, he's kind of playing the same guy, or at least playing the roles in the same way, very direct. There's all different ways of approaching acting as an actor. You know, you have method actors that are really about immersion into their characters. You have other actors that prefer to just play their characters straight on, very, very direct, very heads-on approach to it, and try to bring their personality more straight to the character. And that's what I feel Will Smith does a lot. Not that there's anything wrong with that. He's a very entertaining guy, so I'm fine with it. But for me, as someone that respects and loves the art of acting, and acting is an art, for me, I love Hackman. Hackman to me is definitely the standout in this film. I would have liked to have had more of him, quite frankly. An interesting film, kind of a cat and mouse type of game, trying to get to Will Smith. Gene Hackman comes in, tries to help out, but yeah, fun film, entertaining, 3.5 stars. There you go, number 9. Coming in at number 8, we have The Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis. You know, I think this one could bump to a 4, possibly could bump to a 4-star rating. I have it at 3.5 right now, but it could bump to a 4. I don't know. This was my first time watching this film, so I've only seen it once, and I did thoroughly enjoy it. I gave it a 3.5 just because I don't know if it's going to have that rewatch value for me yet, because this was just my first time seeing it. So, and I think sometimes it takes a movie a little bit to linger with you and to kind of stick with you, you know. So we'll see. I 3.5 for now, but this one could shoot up to a 4 with another, you know, watch or so. But entertaining, good film, enjoy it, good characters, good dialogue. Yeah, number 8 for me. Moving on to number 7, we have Deja Vu, going back to Denzel. I got my boy Val Kilmer in here. Kilmer is another one that I always love seeing him on screen. I always want more of Kilmer on screen. You know, when I think of Val Kilmer, the first movie I think of is Tombstone, which is my favorite Western of all time. And he plays one of my favorite movie characters of all time in that movie, Doc Holliday. In fact, I'm wearing my Doc Holliday shirt right now with him on it. So yeah, love Val Kilmer in that film. That's the first movie I think of when I think of Kilmer. But he's done a number of other great films and given some really good performances. And he fits like a hand in a glove in this film. So he's very good. Denzel's great. It's got some shock moments to you in that first act when, you know, the boat blows up. I didn't see that coming the first time I saw this, you know, that early on. To have something that, you know, big happen was kind of like, whoa, okay. So that's the kind of movie we're in. But a lot of good movement, good rapid movement to the film. You know, it doesn't just linger and just draw scenes out. You know, there's no filler in this film. It has really good movement to it. Jim Caviezel playing the antagonist, he's great as well, and it's got some heart. It definitely has some heart. You know, the scene when Denzel is talking to the father of the girl, that was kind of an emotional scene. The scene where Denzel realizes that he shot his own partner, and then obviously the third act and how that film ends. It's like, man, that would be hard. That would be really tough to deal with. Like if you know somebody and you have history with the person and then their memory of you is just wiped out. Like, you know, that's crazy to think about. So yeah, really good film. A little unsettling though, I gotta say. So yeah, enjoy it. 3.5 stars, number 7. Coming in at number 6, we have Days of Thunder. This is the first 4-star movie on here. Love this movie. This would be the first movie on this list that I would actually go out of my way to rewatch. And have seen this one multiple times. I do thoroughly love this one. Tom Cruise, Robert Duvall is just a beast. He always just brings it. So good, fits into any type of role. And yeah, just fast paced, good action, good story that's simple but tightly put together, good performances, and very entertaining. I always like those kind of NASCAR type of movies. You know, my favorite being Ford versus Ferrari. I think is probably the best of that subgenre, but this one is still very, very good. Great film. Love it. 2 thumbs up, 4 stars. It's number 6 for me. Coming in at number 5, we have The Fan with the old Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes. A movie that I think it definitely, it's a deep film. This is a movie that has something to say. It's got a message to it. You know, it's not just about a guy that goes crazy over, you know, a sports figure that he idolizes. There's actually a message here. And I think it's the way that it's structured is actually really genius. And if you're paying attention to Snipes' character and De Niro's character and how the two kind of work off of each other, it's actually, there's a lot of poetry there. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it. De Niro turns in a great performance as always. Snipes is good. And again, find it very entertaining. Definitely some heart to it as well. So yeah, if you haven't checked out The Fan, get on that. It's a great film. Thoroughly enjoy it. 4 stars for me, and it's number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have Unstoppable, the last Tony Scott film. And man, he went out with a banger in my opinion. I love this movie. It's a very simple plot, a very simple story, but it's executed so well, and the pacing is brilliant. The characters are so well acted. You know, these aren't characters that have a lot of depth to them necessarily, but they're characters that are very well acted. You know, you get Denzel Washington, who always brings a lot of charisma and energy to the screen. And then you got Chris Pine, who I love and is always, you know, very charming. You know, he's a Mr. Steal Your Girl guy, you know, and for understandably, because he's a beautiful man. And yeah, he's great in this one. I think him and Denzel have great chemistry together. And I don't know what it is. The train setting, maybe, again, and some might say this could also be a ripoff of Speed in a way. And I can kind of see that, but this doesn't really have the antagonist that Speed has. This is more, they got to stop this train from, you know, exploding type of thing. So, but yeah, just really good characters that are played very well, brilliant execution to a very simple story, straightforward story. And yeah, thoroughly enjoy it. And a movie I could definitely come back to very often. I've seen it multiple times and always love it. It's always a very entertaining film for me. So yeah, Unstoppable, number 4. Coming in number 3, we have True Romance, a Quentin Tarantino script with a Tony Scott direction, and that's a brilliant combination there. I think Tony Scott actually directs Tarantino script pretty well. He handles that really well, and I think does about as good of a job directing it as one could other than Tarantino, you know. So yeah, just a beautiful movie with a lot of heart to it. Some graphic scenes, you know, the scenes that definitely stick with you. The scene with the guy from The Sopranos. I always forget his name. I don't know why. But the guy from The Sopranos, the scene with him and the blonde girl, yeah, always hard to watch, man. Always hard to watch. But you're rooting for her. You're rooting for her, and to persevere and just make it through. I totally buy into these characters. The dialogue is great, and the story is great. The execution is great. Just a great film through and through. Definitely enjoy it. I don't know that it's necessarily quite as rewatchable as, say, Unstoppable, but it brings more total package wise. It brings more completion as a film than Unstoppable. It's more complex. There's more layers, better dialogue. There's more to it than Unstoppable. Although Unstoppable is probably slightly more rewatchable. But overall, I would give the edge and the nod to True Romance. 4-star film. I love it. Beautiful film. And yeah, it's number 3 for me. Coming in at number 2, we have Top Gun. Tom Cruise film. Maybe the first big breakthrough film for Tom Cruise, I think, because I don't think he really did anything prior to this that was put him on the map type of thing. I think this was the first one that really got him some street cred, and deservedly so. Val Kilmer, playing Iceman, again, I love it. I love Val Kilmer. So, yeah. And I love Top Gun. Great pacing, just flies by with great characters, great actions, well shot, good score. I care about the characters. I care about the story. I'm invested all the way through, and just a good time. A good time. So yeah, Top Gun for me just has always been a movie that I love and can come back to. Kind of a feel good movie for me. So yeah, that's my number 2. And coming in at number 1, we have Crimson Tide, you freaks. Crimson Tide, man. Denzel Washington, Gene Hackman. Yes, I'm all about that. Give me Denzel and Hackman any day. Love both of those guys. They do a great job in this movie. I think this is arguably Tony Scott's best direction. Arguably, I think it's brilliantly directed. It's got a really great script to it that offers you perspective of the two main characters. And that's always what's very important to me when dealing with a war film like this. This is a naval war film. It's kind of unique. You don't get a lot of naval war films. But this is, I think, easily the best naval war film of all time. One of my favorite war films, period. But when dealing with war films, I've always been under the impression it's very important to offer perspective of the people involved, and why they're making the decisions that they make. Because maybe more than any other situation, decisions made in war matter more than maybe any other situation in your life, because it's every decision you're making is going to impact other human lives directly. And I love that this film offers the perspective of both Hackman and Denzel. You see both of their points, and both guys are right in a way. They are both right. And so you're watching and you're like, man, I see Denzel's perspective. It makes sense. And he's right. But I also see Gene Hackman's perspective, and he's right to a degree, and yeah, both guys just bring it in their performance. I love the characters, love the tension. Viggo Mortensen he's great as well. Just a fun movie, flies by for me. Best naval war film in my opinion. If you haven't seen Crimson Tide, what are you doing? Get on that right now, Kimosabi. Well, not right now, but later. But watch it. It's a great film. It's my favorite Tony Scott movie. One of the best films from 1995. And yeah, 4.5-star film. Love it. So there you go, guys. Those are that's my ranking of Tony Scott's filmography. All 16 films ranked. Let me know how you would rank his filmography. What is your favorite Tony Scott movie? Let me know in the comments section. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And don't forget, right after this one, go check out Bryan and Jack's rankings. They're going to be dropping theirs right after mine. So go over. I think Jack is dropping his first, and then Bryan after him. So yeah, go over to their channels, subscribe, give them a thumbs up. Let them know Clayton sent you. And yeah, until next time, kick it and rock on.